Hi everyone, welcome. As you can see, I've got a few things out here. It's coffee, pumpkin, and even a couple pieces of pie crust, pizza pie. The system I've got in my sights for feeding today is the system in which we've got the worms who used to live in my compost barrel. This system was set up 15 days ago when we first hauled out worms from the material that came out of the compost barrel, and as recently as 6 days ago is when we put the last little batch of worms into here. Over 3 separate occasions we put worms in here, and there's some sort of a number somewhere between 900 and 1,000 that estimates the number of worms that occupy that system. I figure let's give them some food. So let's get them up on the bench and get them fed. I must say it was fun taking all the guesses that everybody provided on the number of worms that they saw getting launched into this system every time. We've been keeping tabs on those numbers. I've got them all in my spreadsheet and they're all averaged out. And I don't have them written down here, so I can't just read them off to you, but I can put a little note on the screen showing the numbers. So you can see exactly what the estimated population of the system is, as well as the individual guesses that were used to average the number together. So now, I at one point had taken this coffee filter here and thrown it in here thinking that we might use it as a indicator to show where we last fed, but we've got a new filter coming in with the coffee that we're going to give them as part of their feeding today. So we can use this filter as just bedding for their feeding. And I usually don't do anything too fancy in my feedings. I'll just open up a pit, drop in the food, and let them get back to business. So some stuff came through with these little guys, some large chunk materials. I was pretty particular about trying to separate the worms from the material that they were inhabiting on a couple occasions, but on the second occasion I did bring along a fair bit of the material that the worms were inhabiting. Didn't get a chance to screen it even. That's why these big chunks of peanut shells are in here. Really nice castings. Here's another peanut shell. At some point that stuff's just going to have to come out with the screen. It's just not the sort of thing that I would expect to see a lot of progress on. I guess one thing I would like to do is just blend in all these castings that came along for the ride, because they're a little bit deceiving. I guess they're giving the whole system the appearance of being a little bit further along than it really is. You know, a 2-week-old system wouldn't have nearly this many castings piled up quite yet. So these are a little bit of an illusion. But one thing I thought that might be nice was to blend it all in, kind of dilute the contents of the bin. It's pretty much shredded paper, a whole bunch of bedding that this system is made up out of. I went pretty generous on this system in terms of how much base material to start it with. So I don't think we need to go too crazy with the addition of bedding. Perhaps just this piece of paper going along with the feeding that we're going to give them would be enough. It's always, when a bin is this young, that it's always hard to see the worm, especially when you're using little pieces of paper that are shaped just like a worm, little strips. I guess that's when you really just stop moving all the material around and only the worms move. That's when it starts to become evident where the worms actually are. Some of them could just be sitting here immobile, just kind of hanging out, laying low. Most of them are moving around, squirming around because of the disruption. So I think we've got the castings pretty much well blended in at this point. So I think if I keep shaking it, the stuff will just end up dropping to the bottom. So I didn't want that to be the case. I just want it to be sort of suspended throughout the material and blend it in so I can, you know, better sense how the castings pile up over time and not have a real, like, illusion. But it definitely gives the bin the appearance as if it's already been around for a couple months. Alright, so this, I was also curious about just basic moisture levels in here too. But I would think that, you know, a system that's been protected with a layer of castings over the top, you know, not to mention that plastic bubble wrap that was on top too, probably doing the best in terms of keeping the moisture in here. The moisture's fine. And this stuff here, this really generous portion of pumpkin, this stuff is going to dump out a ton of moisture as well. So we're not going to have any sort of an issue here with moisture at all. So let's get this thing fed. There's really no reason to draw it out. I was just trying to see if we can possibly bump into a little concentration of worms somewhere maybe, but since this bin was not fed whatsoever, some of my bins I build in such a way that there's little bits of food tucked away in places for the worms. This bin was, I can't remember, maybe it was built that way. Yeah, actually, I think this bin did actually have little bits of food tucked away for them already, so that when they arrive they can start feeding. Or do they? I really can't remember at this point. This could actually be the first feeding. This could have been a bin that I started with no food built in. So this could actually be the first feeding for these little guys. So let's get the formalities out of the way and dispense with all of this pomp and circumstance. Let's give them their food so they can enjoy it. So here we got pizza crust. Nice little variety of pizza crust here. I'm going to put some of the coffee in now. We'll sprinkle the rest of it in after. Let's combine a little bit of this bedding with that coffee. Wonder how that pie crust is going to do. And in can go all of this yummy pumpkin. They're going to love this. Not only because it's a yummy, delectable item that they like to eat, but also the moisture content of it is something that they're going to really enjoy too. I'm going to sprinkle it with some of this crushed eggshell. I don't even think that this bin was built with any grit either, so this will be an important food additive to give them. So besides this seasoned piece of paper that we're going to include down in the feeding as bedding, I've also got this here paper towel, soiled piece of paper towel. We'll drop that right on top as well. But let's do away with the rest of this coffee that we're going to give them. We'll sprinkle that right up on top. And then we'll indicate where we fed with that piece of paper that's left behind, that fresh coffee filter. So a couple more sheets of paper here. Nice little layering. And I got a feeling this is going to become really damp, really popular when we get back in here next time. Because I don't think that there's any food scraps in here at all. I can't remember. I'll have to check my notes. But this could possibly be the first feeding that this batch of worms is receiving. So I think it'll be a welcome treat for them. They're going to enjoy this for sure. And there was worms pretty much everywhere. There's no concentration of them, but I'm sure that the next time we come back in here, there will be a very good reason for there to be a concentration of worms in one single spot, because it's going to be right down the middle and it's where all the pumpkin was. I got a feeling this stuff ain't going to last very long, so let's get the system covered back up and let them get back to work. So that's kind of fun. I mean, I've talked about these worms just being kind of here temporarily. My idea was to possibly bring them back out and reintroduce them into the compost barrel that they used to live in, but who knows, we'll have to see. Maybe we'll grow attached to them and decide to keep them after all. I think I want to leave off this this cardboard covering. I've been trending towards trying to reduce coverings on my systems, so we'll see how that goes. But looks like I've destroyed my glove. I thought that was a second tear. I saw that tear for sure, but I was seeing something that appeared to be a second tear. But either way, these gloves are trash. I always try to get at least a few uses out of any glove. And I believe that this glove has been used possibly a half a dozen or more times. So it's good that we're maximizing the use of things before needing to trash them. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, please don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. That's always very much appreciated. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel too. That's very much appreciated as well. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye now.